Chatting here today to Pierre Schoeman, ironically on the day that he's been selected for the Scotland training camp. It's great to speak with you again, Pierre. Gavin Rich is with me again. Welcome, Pierre. Thanks for chatting to us from Edinburgh.
No, thank you, Brendan and Gavin, for having me. I'm here in the car, enjoying another summer day in Scotland without the sun. But yeah, very stoked about the being part of the Scotland group for the autumn internationals, and looking forward to. I think we're starting camp already on Sunday for a 2-day camp.
So, Pierre, just explain us. Have you just qualified now for Scotland? Have you done 3 years, or what was the requirement?
Yeah, so originally it was 5 years because they changed it just the year I signed for Edinburgh.
Okay.
But then due to COVID, they said they're going to give a year grace. So for that guys that signed in that 1 year, it's going to be still 3 years, which now is 5 years. So fortunately enough, it only almost influenced me, because even with the junior Springboks, the years before me and after me are kept and not our year.
Okay.
So it's just like I see it as a miracle, but it's very lucky, and it's just a massive honor.
Okay, so you're saying that if you played junior Springboks a year later, you wouldn't be able to play for Scotland?
Yes, or a year earlier.
Oh, okay. So it was just like you got 1 year in the middle.
Yeah, and I vividly remember that the year 2013. So I was a year younger for my age group, but Polly, Andre Pollard, and everyone. I think it was Polly's 50th cap for the junior Springboks. Played 3 or 4 years. I was still angry, thinking, why didn't I make it? And now a few years later, everything works out as it must.
And we were just chatting just before, Pierre, you're saying that, I mean, obviously you might be lucky enough to face the Boks at Murrayfield if you're selected, but if not, then Scotland are in the World Cup group with the Springboks in a couple of years' time. That must be quite a dream to face the Springboks in another jersey.
Yeah, it's going to be hopefully not too much swear words, like the hooker from Argentina versus the All Blacks. But it's going to be a bit personal words. But no, it'll be a massive honor, especially on Murrayfield. Coming now, there's autumn internationals. They play against the Springboks. You just want to compete with the best. And being from South Africa, it's going to be a weird one singing the national anthem for Scotland if I'm selected in the team versus the Springboks. But it's going to be nice. Can't wait for it.
At least I mean, if it's a Flower of Scotland, it's an easy one to sing. I think I could sing it.
Yes, it's just one language.
Yeah.
So now, Pierre, I mean, you played last weekend against the Stormers. Now, how was that to play against the South African side again for the first time in ages?
Yes, we were so excited. All the South African players in our team, especially the local boys as well. They knew it's going to be physical, and the Stormers didn't, disappoint being physical on defense and on attack, to be honest. But no, the boys were very excited, a bit more nervous. Everyone said it feels more like closer to like a test match than like just a normal Pro 14 match or a normal, United Championship match. And no, it was good. It was very fun to speak a bit of Afrikaans before the time with all the other guys. I know Warwick Geland and a few of the boys, Evan Roos. So yeah, it was very nice. Brooke Harris had played 7 years abroad as well in Wales. So it was very nice to speak to those guys. But it's still, like you say, it's very competitive on the pitch. It's a bit like personal.
And you socialized after. It sounds like you socialized afterwards.
We actually had a team social just for the Edinburgh boys. And then some of the younger lads joined them in the city centre. Both of you know the city centre. They joined up there, and they had a few beers together, which was nice. But yeah, we had the team social. Otherwise, we would have definitely, have a few beers together, or just, kuier lekker together, sit, have a chat about the game or the future.
So now this week must be even bigger, though. I mean, because it's your old side that's coming.
Yeah, and it's quite weird, Bren, because I've seen you a lot, obviously, there at Loftus during the week or big matches. But it's very exciting. I know, like I said, they're only coming on Friday, so there's a few boys, part of the management as well, the manager, the physios, the coach, and then some of the boys I played with, which you would obviously know, Arnu, Marcel, Lizo. It would be nice, to have a coffee with these guys on Friday night, even before the match, just to say hello. Because, in rugby, you form that brotherly relationships. But then the next day, in that 4 white lines, like Bakkies always say, you put everything aside, and then it's when 2 lines meet.
Well, is there a bit more? Well, I'm going to first ask: is there more motivation for this game for you?
I think there's more motivation, yes, Brennan. Even though you have to treat it like any other game, but there's also a fine balance, not to get off your game. Give silly penalties away or something, just to keep on what we trained this week, what we analysed in the videos as well on attack and defence, and also the set piece battle. Just to do your job within the team and not to make it too personal, doing your own stuff, because it's a team sport.
The second part of that question was going to be, you were, one of the things you did at Loftus that got a lot of attention was that song that you did, Op Loftus, the one that you sang on YouTube. Yeah, does that song still ring, or have you got a new one for your ex-teammates?
The boys usually, it's funny that you bring it up. The boys usually make a joke in the changing rooms, like after gym or unit splits outside for training. They will just mock me and still play it or put it on the screen or something and just take, what you call take the piss out of you. But no, a few of the fans actually, and the previous coach, Richard Cockrell, which is now with assistance at England with Eddie Jones, he actually said, why am I not going to make one for Edinburgh when you are still here? So, I don't know, maybe we should make one for Edinburgh.
Yeah, I think you should at some point.
But first we have to win a few matches and then the sideshows can happen. But otherwise, we first have to focus on the job.
You're mentioning Richard Cockrell and mentioning having to win a few matches. It's quite obvious that you guys have changed myself and Brendan watched quite a lot of Pro 14 last year. It's quite obvious you guys have changed your style quite a bit. Although the Storm has forced you a bit to sort of go back, well, not to go back, but to sort of go to a contestable kicking game at the weekend. But how is that going? I mean, the switch of playing style, because it seems that you've got more of a sort of open running style at the moment.
Yeah, it's a big talking point, having a bit of more of expression or to express yourself, your talents, to play the ball, to play exciting rugby. But with the new coach, Mike Blair, which is really, he's an amazing coach and we learn so much, especially on attack. He's really adamant on, the proud we've been built with the 3 years of Richard Cockrell. It's made the club successful, beating Newcastle twice, Montpellier and Toulon. Wasps, there was big matches that the Edinburgh club really pulled through, and that's because of that robust set piece Richard Cockrell enforced. And now Mike Blair, he's adamant on, we have to be more innovative, etc. But it's a classic thing of earn the right to go wide. So your fundamentals still has to be there. We still harsh on the set piece battle. We still harsh on you have to be tough and robust and, do your job. Otherwise, maybe someone else put their hand up that can do your job better and you might lose a spot in the team. So it's not a threatening thing, but it comes with that responsibility of still do your job. But then, yes, if you can, within the structure, play your offload to express yourself, maybe not as a prop to grab it, but, just to express yourself.
Mm-hmm. Pierre, I was going to ask you, I was going to be a bit naughty and ask you, have you got yourself a kilt yet?
No, actually, we one of my friends, you would know, also a farmer from Luriesfontein, almost said a farmer from Luriesfontein who played many games for Scotland Tighthead, WPNL. When we just got here, we had a Gaelic, the languages the Scottish folk speak, like Afrikaans in South Africa, or the other 10 languages, except for English. So we had a Gaelic dance, and we had to wear a kilt, but I didn't buy a proper one. I just bought a cheapie, just to fit in and do my dance and show my calves to the people at the festive function. But no, I think with Scotland now, one would have to have a proper kilt. But I have to say, my grandfather, he's good with like doing research about the family trees, how far back it goes. And I actually have family, he claims that I actually, and he can prove it, that I'm actually from Peebles, which is not far from where I live now in Scotland.
Mm.
And they were part of the Ruarti clan. Ruarti. So he has that on file. So actually, my great-great-grandfather, I don't know how many generations, but yeah, he's originally from Peebles, which is about less than half an hour where I live from now.
Yeah. And a good golf course out there as well.
Yeah.
Lots of
I know
old people.
a lot of people like salmon fishing there as well.
Yeah. That's why I bumped into. I remember when I was there in 1994. That's where I bumped into Bill McLaren. Like he used to, I think he must have been living there at that stage. You know, the late Bill McLaren, legendary commentator. Yeah. No, it's great. So lots of old age homes there. It's like
I love, and it's a beautiful little, you can't say town, village. It's a beautiful village on the river. You guys would know, but
yeah,
we like driving there and just having maybe a snack there and enjoy the nature as well.
Yeah, last time
Sorry, Brent. Do you want to go?
No, I was gonna. You can. I was gonna say last time I spoke to you, there's two things you were saying you were putting up quite a bit of time into away from the field. One was the church that you guys had sort of helped establish there, and the other one was a boerewors business there as well. How's those two going?
Yeah. So the proper pioneer, the South African boerewors, biltong, raaivors, and cheese grillers. It went so well, Brennan. The blessing actually became not a curse, but it got too much to handle. And so we sold it completely to WP now, which is now towards maybe the last year, 2, 3, or 4 of his career. And he always wanted to have a butchery in Edinburgh. And he bought it from us completely. We still go to Hillsong Edinburgh Church on Sundays. So now that's going very well. And I just wanted to sell the business, being eligible to play for Scotland now. I wanted to put all my focus and energy into it. If you have this one shot, why not just go for it? Your rugby career is only so long. So life after rugby, yes, you have to give attention to that. But it's key now to give it your full attention and your full energy. On off day, take off. You can't really handle more stuff and stress and energy and put other people's salaries as well.
Yeah, you spoke just now about the physicality that the Storm has brought in. Has there been anything not just the teams you've played against, but obviously the games you've watched on TV and what you've heard. Has there been anything that surprised you? Have they done better or worse than you would expect, the South African teams? Has there been anything surprising about their game that's been different that, you might think Jupiter's okay, that they didn't used to play like that? Has there been anything that stood out for you?
I think the Stormers, the Lions, the Sharks, and the Bulls play towards their strengths. We know Bulls physical, set piece, come hard around the corner with a latch, kicking game spot on, Goosen, Morne Steyn now back in, even Chris Smith, the kicking game territorial battle is very good. The Stormers, the offloads, getting that back three involved. The Lions also very proud of, dominating the set piece battle. Sharks physical as well, but they have that flair as well to offload the ball. I don't think they have disappointed. I think they had a hard first week or two, but you can automatically see the transition they do now. They're all the coaches are innovative. They speak to the opposition afterwards. They speak to the refs afterwards, learn and adapt quickly, and then implement it for the next week. I know we all in South Africa have that saying going back to the drawing board, but I think the South African teams does that quite well. And they shift quickly, learn quickly. Week 3, week 4, okay, no, the ref blows obstruction like this. They challenge it, they change it. But I think in South Africa, it's going to be a different story for the UK-based clubs, to be honest, and European-based clubs.
Yeah. I was going to say that. Playing over there, you can maybe sort of tell us how tough it is to actually play your first URC game, like the Bulls did, to actually play against Leinster, and the same weekend the Sharks were playing against Munster. Those are very tough places to go, aren't they? Even for you guys that are used to it, let alone sort of coming over from South Africa.
Exactly. No, you're spot on. And I know I've said this before, like CJ Stander has said it. There's many players that said it. when they left South Africa and they came to the UK, they thought, oh, no, man, we're the top dogs now. But then you come to the UK, where the first match happened between Scotland and England in 1872. These guys have been, they've been set piece battling it for quite a few years, longer than the South African sides and Super Rugby. So your set piece has to be on it. And a club like Leinster, I mean, I know I'm talking Premiership now, but clubs like Saracens, clubs like, Bristol, clubs like Exeter, they've been putting a lot of attention to detail in set piece battles, mauls, scrums. So you have to be on it as well. And then with the weather as well, there wasn't too much experience of that yet, but it's getting much worse. The wind, the rain, even possibly snow. So that's another condition you're going to have to handle for the South African sides, I think, in the United Champions Cup now.
Yeah, I mean, just on that, I mean, you talk about the European sides as such. I mean, I think the one thing we all realize is that the South African sides have probably played so much rugby against each other, especially in those last 18 months where we couldn't play anybody else. That maybe that initial thing was a bit of a shock. The conditions, the way the teams, the Pro 14 teams attack the breakdown. I don't think the South African teams are quite used to teams going so hard at the third and fourth breakdown, for instance. Things like that. So we can see them adapting. But you talk about Europe, that's going to be another step up for the South African teams, which I'm sure they're not quite used to yet, and that might shock them as well when they get into the European Champions Cup. Just that step up when you have to play at Toulouse or Saracens.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at these big clubs you mentioned, like Toulouse, they buy international players that already has over maybe 10 years experience playing abroad. Anyway, seasons. And now all of a sudden you're new to these conditions and style of playing rugby. But I have to be honest, it's not only my prediction, but sides.
Brendan, did you get all that?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Sorry, Pierre, can I ask you? I don't know, for some reason I just froze. So do you mind?
Okay.
I just heard my prediction. That's the last thing I heard. Sorry.
Yeah, let's know what the prediction was. Sorry.
I said just it's my prediction, but I've heard it from a lot of guys as well. Is the young guys in South Africa playing for these clubs now? Within a year or two, they're going to have a lot of experience to compete with the world's best, because then they've been on the tour to the UK. They know how Leinster is at now, the atmosphere at Connacht. When all the August trials are playing in France, in Toulouse, they're going to have this experience, and how the refs is blowing the game. So I think within a year or two, this young guys coming through, they're going to have a lot of experience. And when the Springboks gets back to these unions, the big players, to face it Toulon in a European Champions semi-final, it's going to be very helpful for the small clubs as well. It's almost like, we know when the Currie Cup was played, then the semi-finals and finals, the big Springboks come back quickly to do the business, and then win the trophy and get back to duty. It's almost like that. Then you have that experience of guys, controlling the match, like a Dwayne Vermeulen presence on the field. So stuff like that.
Just Pierre, the guys who are still there with you, obviously Jaco's doing very well with the team as well. See, Luan de Bruin is there as well, and Juan Venter. Are those the only South Africans there? Because Mike Willems has left Edinburgh, hasn't he?
Yes, Mike Willems has left. He's at London Irish now. Then Nick Groom has left as well. And then him and Dimitri Katrikilis, they're running the show at Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
In
Israel.
In Israel.
With Ronaldo Botma as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny because you can't really scream "get away" of Iraq, because it's next to Iraq. No, it's just a joke that. But And then you have big Andries Ferreira. He also left for Carcassonne in France. The Pro D2 club. He's doing well. They're staying on a vineyard. So it's at the moment it's us four, and then Jordan Venter from Paul Roos. He's another young guy that's there as well at the club. And then Jaco, yeah. So yeah, it's just the 6 of us now. But there used to be 9. It's still nice.
Yeah, and I can imagine. I just the South African presence there, because that's the one thing we obviously look out for straight away in the URC and the Pro 14 is which South Africans are playing where. It's nice to see the guys coming through, especially a guy like Jaco who's done so well as well.
Yeah, very. I mean, him and Duan, they were, I think, a year or a year and a half before me. They left to join Edinburgh. Duan from Montpellier, like we'll know, and Jaco from the Lions, and they've done exceedingly well for themselves.
Just on that, just talk about Duan. You mentioned him. What was it like being a South African in Scotland, watching the Lions tour? Obviously, there was a lot said throughout the tour about things, about videos that Rossi made and about the test and refs. But what was it like just sitting there watching it?
I think we'll always be proud of the South African team. You know, as young boys in South Africa, you always want to play for the Springboks. That's the dream. That's the only thing you almost want to live for in South Africa, is to play for the Springboks one day. And then your journey takes a bit of a different path. But we were still shouting, you know, rooting for Duan and then the Scottish boys that plays with us at Edinburgh as well. But yeah, that's how far that goes. And then the rest of the Springboks, I mean, I have a lot of personal friends in the Springboks as well, that I want them to do well. And, you know, after you represent Scotland now, your next team is the Springboks, your home nation. You love them, you still respect them. So it's not like a write-off. You still want them to do well, beat the British Irish Lions until you maybe play for them or
yeah. I was going to ask you that question because, I mean, in 4 years' time, you're going to be probably like in the peak of your career. I mean, the props sort of, you know, get better and better age, as we know.
Yes.
So you're in a brilliant your picture. Is that something that you sort of, I mean, and you'll be experienced then. I mean, you would have played 4 years, hopefully, you would have played 4 years of international rugby. Is that something that you sort of might have in the back of your mind? I mean,
definitely.
Yeah.
No, Gavin, that's completely in my. I think first it was to just focus on Edinburgh and then just do well. And then when I get my shot at Scotland, you know, get as much experience as you can, learn from the coaches, Gregor Townsend, who was with the British Irish Lions. So you have to be like a sponge, adapt and learn from these guys that has all the experience. But then the World Cup is around the corner, 6 Nations, and then the British Irish Lions. And you have to have these career goals, you know, to be driven, to be passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, you just stall, you just get your paycheck and you just rock up at the club and just play football, rugby, footy. But no, that's definitely in my dreams and aspirations, yes.
And it's still very much a big thing over there, isn't it? I mean, the Lions series. I mean, this last one was a funny series because there were no fans in that. But, you know, it's still very much a, you know, it was different. Let's just put it this way, when the Lions tour was on, did you sort of feel like rugby, all the rugby people there were just incredibly focused on?
Yes. Yes, it's still it's a massive thing, especially, you know, the 6 Nations, I know you guys know it, but to emphasize it, the 6 Nations in the UK is very big. Every guest house, hotel, pub, everything is just watching, all the gyms, everyone's just showing 6 Nations matches. And then the British and Irish Lions, like you said, you just hear all the boys coming back saying the best experience they ever thought. It's more than that. It's more special than that. That's why there's only so little or few or elite few numbers that makes it like that. So yeah, no, it's massively, and you can hear from the boys. It's very sacred. They're very proud of when they get back from this duty, even though they lost to the Springboks. But they're still very, very much proud of it.
Cool. I mean, I know it's maybe a bit of an unfair question, but because you've made your decision already a couple of years ago, but is there any sort of a little bit of regret in the back of your mind about not going for a Springbok spot? I mean, I know you made your decision to go for Scotland, etc. But is there maybe not a bit of a regret that you won't wear the green and gold?
No, Brendan, I'll just be brutally honest. There's no regrets. There's no hard feelings. There's no negative emotions to it. That I'm just excited and full of optimism to play for Scotland. And like you said, I made that decision a few years ago to do my 3 years. It was 5 years originally, like we spoke about. Put in the hard work, and if you get enough, get picked or selected. And then it's up to you, the controllables, to make it happen. So that's your training, work hard, nutrition, recovery, mindset. And now I'm there, and I'm very proud of it. And to represent Scotland, it is my home now. I mean, we live here, our friends is here, our doggy is Scottish, our house is Scottish. We are living in Scotland, in Edinburgh now. So, and that's been our life for 3 years. And you never know if that's going to be the rest of your life, or if it's only going to be another year, 2, 4, 5, 7, 10. You never know. So this might be our forever home as well, Always we are born in South Africa. So like I said, you still have massive respect. You love them, love the Bokke when they do well. Like I said, the players, what Springbok players go through to get where they get through with all the competition, like in France, like in England. It's like the All Blacks, it's massive competition. To shine in South Africa, to be a Springbok, it's not only hard work, but the timing, the luck, the coaches that back you, everything has to work perfectly for you to make it. So no regrets. I'm very happy for guys like Janse. He's the same age as me, same school, just made his debut for the Springboks. I know, which is very sad, he lost his father last week, or the week before. That's why he left the camp for personal reasons. But like him, I have massive respect for him for keep grafting, keep grinding, keep working hard. And he still made Springboks on our age now this year. So massively happy for guys like that as well.
I can imagine. You say it's for your forever home now. I mean, it's strange. Don't you miss the sun? I mean, it's a question everybody probably asks you from South Africa.
Well, we, as South Africans, yes, we do miss the sun. I think the biggest thing we miss is that, you're very, very close with your family. You take it for granted when you're there. And we have an uncle in Australia. He always said, since he left South Africa, you sleep with an open door, but you cry your pillow to sleep. And it's a hard, sad, emotional, but amazing, statement. And I think that tears can be either joy or, sadness of missing your family or opportunities or son. But there's so many amazing stuff in the UK and Scotland as well. But yes, do miss the sun. I was telling Quibus on Super Rugby, we might get extra language on the plane and take some salmon back to South Africa frozen and bring some frozen lamb chops and steaks back to Scotland when we go visit the family for a holiday.
You talk about salmon. My wife's actually Scotland. Her family's from Scotland, so I go over there quite often, and I love haggis. I enjoy haggis. What do you have you sort of got yourself turned on? I mean, I know you're a Boerewors man, but are you starting to enjoy eating haggis and enjoying it, or is that going to take time?
No, Gavin, we love haggis. Me and my wife, they call it like this haggis balls. You know it?
Yeah.
It's amazing with a creamy whiskey sauce. Oh no, it's delightful. It's amazing.
No.
I'll have to have a green tea with that. Otherwise, I'll have to do extra fitness at the club as well.
Have you seen your brother yet, Phil? I mean, I know he's just down the road there, basically, from you.
Yes. Well, that's the thing with COVID. There was a blessing for us as well. They came to visit us, him, his wife, and his baby Owen. His son is 2 years old, and then we end up all getting COVID in different stages. So we had to quarantine together. So we spent a lot of quality time together, having a beer, gymming together, playing. There was actually some nice sunny days, so we played outside in the garden, made a pool for little Owen. No, it was amazing, and hopefully, whenever we get an off weekend or something, we'll definitely go visit them again. We've been there twice in Bath. It's amazing. It's beautiful there as well. So yeah, we speak a lot. He's doing well there as well. I think out of the last 30 matches, he played 26 in the previous season and this season Premiership. So he's doing very well. He's enjoying it, and yeah.
I think I'm Gav. I don't know. Do you have anything more you want to ask?
That's great. That's great. Yeah, we don't want to keep you sitting in your car the whole night. So.
That's
I know
okay.
it's still summer, but it's going to get dark sometime.
Yeah.
Yes, it gets dark quickly, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for chatting, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been good, and good luck. I hope the Scotland thing goes well.
Thank you, Brendan and Gavin. I appreciate your time, eh?
Thank you. Thanks a lot, and good luck at the weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gavin. Have a good evening.